Welcome to Heart about everything lupus, where we discuss everything about lupus. I'm Susie van der Walt, or as most of you know me, Susie Eagles Flight. I am from Lupus South Africa and Andrea's Gift. Today we are discussing lupus and fibromyalgia. Affecting approximately 6% of the world's population, fibromyalgia is one of the most common chronic, widespread pain condition. Many lupus warriors have both lupus and fibromyalgia, and that is why we chose to discuss it in this episode. Just a note, I've had 2 strokes, so please just bear with me if I do struggle with pronunciation. So get a cup of nice hot coffee or tea, put your earphones in, sit in a relaxing chair, and let the two of us discuss lupus. Lupus and fibromyalgia. I chose fibromyalgia as the topic this week because so many warriors have lupus and fibromyalgia. Some warriors develop fibromyalgia later in their journey, and some people might just have fibromyalgia. So this is just the basics and the way it influences us. So let's get into it. Fibromyalgia not only takes a toll on the individual physically, but mentally as well. Dealing with a debilitating pain, chronic fatigue, poor sleep quality, and the uncertainty of what is wrong can often lead to anxiety and depression. A holistic approach that treats both mind and body is optimal for managing the symptoms of fibromyalgia. We are so focused on the physical, we leave out all the other parts of the human body. And with fibromyalgia and lupus, you will not get better if you don't give attention to everything, the whole body. What causes fibromyalgia? Fibromyalgia, also referred to as fibromyositis or fibrositis, is not only a disease, it's considered a syndrome or a condition. The National Health Service suggests that fibromyalgia may be the result of how our central nervous system and brain communicate pain. Chemical changes in the nervous system could result in how feelings of discomfort are transmitted and processed throughout the body, and how our brain perceives these changes and responds. So it's a lot to do with the brain. Possible causes, triggers of fibromyalgia may include chemical imbalances. Individuals with fibro often have low levels of serotonin, dopamine, and noradrenaline. Poor sleep quality and changes in sleep patterns. This could be both a cause and a symptom of fibro. Genetic. An individual can be genetically predisposed to developing fibromyalgia. Because it's working in the central nervous system, you know that it is connected to genetics. Genetics may play up to a 50% role in contributing to these symptoms. So if your mother had fibro, you are genetically disposed to develop it at some stage or another. Stress or psychological trauma. It has been proven over and over again that any form of trauma can be linked to lupus and fibro. It's not a must that you have to have trauma in your life, but it can be one of the root causes. Several conditions are also linked to fibromyalgia and include osteoarthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, temporomandibular disorder. It's pain and compromised movement of the jaw and surrounding muscles. Achilles spondylitis, an inflammatory arthritis, and it affects the spine and large joint. Some of us have all these conditions that I've named. The relationship between fibromyalgia and systemic lupus erythematosus, SLE or lupus for short. Fibromyalgia is extremely complex in nature and shares many similarities with lupus, including its target demographic, its elusivity, and the time it takes to properly diagnose it. So target demographic, it's usually a certain group of people. Its elusivity. Both conditions can also seem invisible. That is, individuals who suffer from SLE and or fibro often look perfectly healthy to everyone else. Though fibromyalgia is not considered an overlapping disease of lupus, there is also a significant relationship between the two chronic conditions. In 2016, a study published in the journal Clinical and Experimental Rheumatology, researchers noted that the longer an individual has SLE, 5 years or more, the higher the prevalence of fibromyalgia. And it is because if you're chronically inflamed body, your body is chronically in the fight and flight position, is definitely going to affect your central nervous system and the perception of pain. One factor that may link the two conditions together is depression. Individuals with lupus who also experience depression have an even greater likelihood of developing fibromyalgia. And remember, we are not created to deal with a chronic illness like this. So it's definitely going to affect your mental health. Much like SLE, fibromyalgia may also flare at times and for some of the same reasons. And with stress and trauma, both will flare. I mean, and I'm sure you have experienced it, but it's kind of known that the moment we start stressing or have a traumatic event, our lupus gets worse, our fibro gets worse. So it's definitely something that will make you flare. And the thing is, you have to get over the trauma or be working through it and to enable you to get better with symptoms of lupus and fibro. Fibromyalgia symptoms. You'll hear that it's not the same than lupus. Chronic, widespread pain, debilitating fatigue, disruptive sleep, stiffness, especially in the morning upon awakening, headache, menstrual pain, and pelvic pain. As you can see, there's a lot of symptoms that are the same than lupus, and that's why it's so difficult for doctors to be able to diagnose fibromyalgia or lupus. I think recently there's more kind of understanding of both the diseases, and then obviously doctors understand it better, and then the symptoms are known and they can easily diagnose it. But it's the difficulty and the complexity of lupus and fibro that makes it difficult for doctors if not all the clinical symptoms or not all the blood results are there, and that's what makes it difficult. Another symptom is tingling and or numbness in the hands and feet. Just a note here that I want to add with the tingling and numbness. Also, neuropathy is the nerve pain, and the nerve pain of fibro and lupus almost feels like the pain. It also got tingling and numbness, but it almost feels like the pain is in the bone. So that's another thing that I've learned of how to distinguish between nerve pain. Next symptom, cognitive difficulties, similar to lupus and brain fog, restless leg syndrome, depression and anxiety, and sensitivity to light and sound. Yeah, sensitivity to light and sound is also linked with lupus. It's not something that is known as a symptom in every area, but I've seen a lot of lupus warriors struggling with that too. It does not mean that is fibromyalgia. Experiencing these symptoms can gravely impact an individual's quality of life. Not only do the symptoms cause debilitating physical discomfort, they also can disrupt in an individual's education, career, financial stability, social and family life. It upsets your whole world. How is fibromyalgia diagnosed? In 2014, article published in the journal Rheumatology International, the researcher pointed out that diagnosing fibro chiefly relies on using tests to rule out disorders of rheumatic, neurological, psychiatric, hematological, and endocrine origins. So it's, you have to rule out lupus, arthritis, neurological, the disorders of the brain, psychiatric, it's your mental health. Hematological is bloods, and endocrine is more or less all the hormones in the body. So if it's not a disease linked to that, then it must be fibromyalgia. While there is no specific diagnostic test for diagnosing fibro, the American College of Rheumatology has not only created diagnostic criteria for lupus, but they have created following criteria to help healthcare practitioners to diagnose fibromyalgia as well. Number 1, pain and symptoms over the course of a week based on a total number of equal to and larger than 11 of painful areas out of 19 parts of the body. This includes measuring the severity level of the following symptoms: fatigue, waking unrefreshed, cognitive problems, memory or thought, the number of other general physical symptoms, symptom lasting at least 3 months at a similar level, no other health problem that would explain the pain and other symptoms. A healthcare practitioner, your doctor, your rheumatologist, will also discuss an individual's health history in order to help determine whether or not they have fibromyalgia. So they're including all these other diseases in the body. If your pain lasts more than a week in 11 parts of the body, and then also the fatigue, you wake up and your brain, and then also the symptom lasting 3 months or more. So you've had it for a long period of time. And that's where it becomes a problem, because if your lupus have a negative ANA when you first go to the doctor, it's like the doctor develops tunnel vision and he just looks at fibro. But sometimes it's lupus. That's why most doctors that you will see will tell you, okay, I've tested this and this, and for so long we're going to treat you with these and these, but come back in 3 months, then I will do another set of tests to see whether can it be lupus that is hiding away. How is fibromyalgia treated? The following is approved pharmaceutical treatment for fibromyalgia. Anti-epileptics, including pregabalin, Lyrica. Note, sometimes gabapentin, Neurontin may also be prescribed. They say anti-epileptics, but it's not really classified as that when in our day-to-day. We more say it's medication for neuropathy, because anti-epileptic sounds strange. Why will we be using it? We don't have epileptic fits. So Lyrica, Neurontin, and I know they use Cymbalta also here, but Cymbalta can also be classified as an antidepressant. But these drugs help for the nerve pain in fibromyalgia. And yes, it's a difficult medication to get used to, but in the long run, it's the only thing that helps with neuropathy. Then we have antidepressant, Cymbalta, Treplin, Prozac, and Zoloft may be prescribed. I think Lexamol also falls in this category. And yes, because fibro is definitely, there is depression because it's one of the symptoms. And the thing is, depression is like having flu or a throat infection. You have to get an antibiotic. It won't go away. Just like that, you will need an antidepressant if you have fibro. And the following non-pharmaceutical treatments for fibromyalgia: exercise, even just a walk. Stress reduction, really you can find ways to help with stress, coping with stress, delegate, we've gone through it in some of the previous podcasts. Biofeedback and making lifestyle changes may also prove beneficial in treating fibromyalgia. Now, really, your diet does have an effect, because some foods may affect you in a negative way, and then it does add to your depression, feeling bloated, having constipation, fatigue, and everything that can be linked to diet. So diet is very important. And just start small. Start with one day having a walk in a week, one day eating healthy, and you do it bit by bit and one day at a time. Because if you look at a healthy diet and look in the long run, it sounds so huge to you that you feel you can't do it. So just do one step at a time, one day at a time. The following changes that may improve daily quality. The following changes may improve daily quality of life for an individual with fibromyalgia. So, number 1, make where you spend most of your day as comfortable as possible. I always say, my bedside table is my office, it's my bedside table, it's my makeup table, especially when I'm ill. So, I'll have the books here, and I'll have crafts here, and everything just to make life comfortable to me. Number 2, adjust your sleep habits. Now, there are natural ways you can help by taking magnesium at night, melatonin. And another herb that I want to add here is holy basil. It's definitely effective in treating anxiety and sleeping. Consider massage therapy. There are really areas in my body that no matter how many pain tablets, how many anti-inflammatories, how many Lyrica I take, that will never go away. The spasms won't go away. And for that, I do use massage therapy or physical therapy. It's really important. It's something that you cannot go without. Even if it's just a family member that massages an area that is stiff and spasms. Muscle spasms is one of the most difficult symptoms of lupus that we can have. And then another one there that I want to add is acupuncture. That also has helped a bunch of time when there's a muscle that is spasming and it's like frozen in that position. Cognitive behavioral therapy. It's using your mind, thinking, and cognitive ability to improve your fibromyalgia. And the last one here is yoga. Now, it has been proved over and over and over that some of those yoga stretches do improve pain of fibro and lupus. What is the prognosis? To date, there is no cure for fibro. Continued research and studies, however, have resulted in the recommendations of therapies and medications proving to reduce the symptoms and improve your quality of life. An integrative approach to treat fibromyalgia best. That means treating the whole body and using pharmaceutical drugs and natural ways to improve your fibromyalgia. Like taking the best Western medicine, complementary therapies, and creating a treatment plan specifically targeted towards you will prove to be the best approach to improve your fibromyalgia. So here it comes back to the idea that it's each of us is different. So your fibro and your lupus will be totally different than somebody next to you. You might have the same symptoms, but whatever works for you, a treatment plan that works for you. In conclusion, prompt diagnosis and treatment of fibro are imperative to maintaining your quality of life. Building and trusting communication relationship between you and your doctor will result in more efficient symptom management and less stress and anxiety. Fibro is exactly like lupus. Write down your symptoms. So when you go to the doctor, you can discuss it with him. And you have to trust your doctor. With lupus and fibromyalgia, we have to become our own advocate and take responsibility for our care, our disease, our quality of life. You have to work together. And like I always say, it's not easy to live beyond lupus. It's not easy to improve your quality of life. It takes hard work. And that is why most people just want to pop a pill and they're fixed. It doesn't work that way with lupus or fibro. If you or someone you know suspects a fibromyalgia diagnosis, be sure to thoroughly discuss any changes in health, physical or emotional, with a doctor in order to start receiving the quality of care that everyone deserves. I know the quality of care is difficult in our state hospitals, and not everybody can afford a medical aid, and that's what makes South Africa very different to the rest of the world. I must say, we have lupus clinics and rheumatology departments at some of our state hospitals, and they do treat us and give medication, but sometimes there's a difficulty. The medication is not all there. You wait days to see a doctor, and you see a different doctor every time, so it can be a problem. So the best thing that I can suggest with lupus and fibro, both with lupus and fibro, if you have both, you have to become your own advocate. Work together with your doctor, trust him and help him, and then, or her, and then take responsibility for your care. Decide that you're going to follow a healthy diet and do some exercise and do some work from your side, which could lead to a better quality of life.
Gladly, that magic night we kissed there in the moon mist.
That concludes this podcast. Please review it on the platform you are listening on. Leave a comment below on topics you would like me to talk about. If you enjoyed this podcast, please hit the like button below. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Andres Gift Twins and Teen, Lupus South Africa, and Susie is fine.
So strangely willing, but now
Thank you for listening, and remember, giving up is not an option. Bye.
madly, that little kiss you stole.